Today we're going to dive into Hinduism versus Islam. This isn't about stirring up debates, it's just an honest comparison using clear and concise infographics to highlight key aspects and differences between the two. As always, I'm just providing the info. What you take away from it is up to you, so if you're curious about these two unique faiths, stick around, let's dive into it. Hinduism, tracing its roots back to around 3000 BC, represents a broad spectrum of beliefs and practices evolved over millennia, while Islam, founded in 610 AD, presents a more uniform set of beliefs and practices informed by the Quran and the life of the Prophet Muhammad. The time difference underpins the extensive theological and philosophical complexity found in Hinduism as compared to the comparatively recent but more streamlined structure of Islam.
On this note, actually, about the foundation of the faith, so like he just said, the foundation of Hinduism is kind of an amalgamation of spiritual practices over time. Islam is similar to this as well. Like, Islam is not just like the religion of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. Muslims have a belief that Islam is a religion of God since the beginning of mankind, beginning with Adam, actually.
Yeah, Islam is just really true monotheistic religion, which we believe like the original person that started it was Abraham, or Ibrahim alayhi salam, which is why we believe he's like the father of Islam. So it goes back probably more than 3,000 years, 4,500
like
years.
he's a major component of the figures in Islam, but Islam itself, like, you could look at it like updates, right? And Islam is the
newest
final,
testament.
it's the final testament revealed. So Islam actually is a religion that believes in its beliefs from the beginning of mankind.
Hinduism's Trimurti, consisting of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, corresponds to cosmic functions of creation, preservation, and destruction. On the other hand, Islam practices strict monotheism, with all these functions combined in Allah, demonstrating a clear contrast in the conceptualization of divine power. In Hinduism, Manu and Shatarupa are the first humans created and guided by Brahma. The Islamic tradition parallels this narrative with Adam and Hawa, created and guided by Allah. Both narratives set forth foundational ideas about human responsibility, divine interaction, and morality in their respective traditions.
Which, by the way, sometimes people get discouraged when they find similar stories in other religions, and then they say, oh, now I'm questioning Islam, is it really correct? We can see a similar story in Hinduism. Guys, all religions have half-truths. We believe that Islam is the full truth. We believe that Islam comes with a complete revelation. However, that does not mean that there are no truths at all in other religions. For example, if we look into Christianity, they're talking about Adam and Eve as well. They're talking about the prophets too. So we say, yes, those things are correct. However, those religions deviated. This is the Islamic perspective. And therefore, if we see in Hinduism that there is a male and a female, the first human beings, we should not get discouraged. Quite the opposite, we should get reaffirmed that this story has been transmitted throughout the ages.
The Vedas form the oldest and most revered texts in Hinduism, presenting a vast array of hymns, rituals, and philosophical discourses. In contrast, the Quran, revered by Muslims as the Word of God, provides a singular, comprehensive guide for all aspects of life, social, political, and spiritual. The mandir in Hinduism serves not only as a place of worship, but also a community center where various cultural and social activities take place. Similarly, the mosque in Islam functions as both a place of worship and a community center, reflecting shared communal values despite their architectural and ritualistic differences. The pujari in Hinduism and the imam in Islam both serve as religious leaders. They guide their communities through rituals, prayers, and interpretations of scriptures. Their roles underline the universal need for spiritual guidance across diverse religious traditions. Puja in Hinduism typically involves offerings to deities and can vary greatly in complexity, reflecting the myriad of local traditions. Salah in Islam is a fixed set of physical postures and Quranic recitations done at specific times each day, showcasing a rigid structure aimed at regular connection with the divine.
Okay, this was a little bit vague here. The main difference is, of course, that in the Hindu prayer, or whatever you want to call it, they said that they are worshipping different deities. And in Islam, for the 1000th time, we are worshipping one God alone. So he spoke about the rigidity that you find in Salah, that you have to do it 5 times per day. There's a certain way of doing it, a certain ritual, so on and so forth. However, he failed to mention the most important part here is that within Islam, you're praying to one God alone. This is the true distinction here. We're talking about monotheism and polytheism. We are not making any offerings to deities.
Namaste in Hindu tradition is a respectful greeting which translates to, I bow to the divine in you. In contrast, Assalamu alaikum in Islamic tradition translates to, peace be upon you. Both greetings reflect their respective traditions' emphasis on respect and peace in interpersonal relations. Hinduism has approximately 1.2 billion followers, predominantly in India and Nepal, reflecting a strong cultural and regional concentration. Islam, with about 2 billion followers, is more globally dispersed, indicating its wide-scale acceptance and adaptability across different cultures and regions. The largest concentration of Hindus is in India, whereas Indonesia is home to the largest Muslim population. These geographical concentrations highlight how specific historical, political, and cultural contexts have shaped the development and practices of these religions. Varanasi in India, considered the spiritual capital of Hinduism, hosts rituals like the Ganga Aarti and cremations, which hold significant spiritual meaning. Similarly, Mecca in Saudi Arabia, the holiest city in Islam, hosts the annual pilgrimage, the Hajj. Both cities embody the deep historical, spiritual, and emotional ties of their respective followers. Diwali, celebrated by Hindus as a festival of lights symbolizing the victory of light over darkness, contrasts with Eid al-Adha in Islam, which commemorates the Prophet Abraham's willingness to sacrifice his son in obedience to God's command. Despite these different underlying themes, both festivals bring joy, unity, and reinforce shared values among their respective communities through acts of charity, communal prayers, feasts, and family gatherings. In Hindu belief, Svarga is a temporary heaven-like realm attained by righteous souls before reincarnation. Islam's Jannah, however, is a permanent paradise granted to the righteous in the afterlife. While both concepts encourage ethical living, they represent different views on the soul's ultimate destiny. Naraka, according to Hinduism, is a realm ablaze with red fire, where souls undergo suffering and purification for their sins and are ultimately destined for rebirth. Conversely, Jahannam in Islam is a dark realm, engulfed in black-colored fire, serving as a place of eternal punishment for the wicked. Hinduism describes Rakshasas as powerful demonic beings disrupting cosmic order, somewhat akin to the Islamic concept of shaitan, who are devils leading humans astray. Both symbolize forces of chaos and evil. Ravana, a demon king in Hindu epics, embodies the force of ego and desire, while Iblis in Islam represents defiance and pride. Both characters serve as cautionary figures against straying from righteousness. Bhutas in Hindu mythology, spirits of the dead, and jinn in Islamic belief, supernatural creatures created from smokeless fire, represent entities from unseen worlds, showing shared recognition of a reality beyond human perception. In Hinduism, celestial beings known as devas, who serve the divine order, are often compared to malaika or angels in Islam, both being intermediaries between God and humans. They symbolize the constant cosmic order in both religions, highlighting the belief in a structured universe overseen by divine powers. Vidyadhari, the celestial nymphs of Hinduism, also known as apsaras, are depicted as ethereal beings associated with beauty and nature, often involved in interactions with humans. Their counterparts in Islam, the Huri, are beautiful beings promised to the righteous in the afterlife. These beings symbolize reward and virtue, reflecting each religion's emphasis on righteousness and piety. The legendary creature Garuda in Hinduism is a bird-like deity, often serving as a mount to Lord Vishnu and symbolizing power and nobility. In contrast, Burak from Islamic tradition is a miraculous steed that transported the Prophet Muhammad during his night journey, symbolizing divine intervention and spiritual ascension. Both these beings highlight the recurring theme of divine assistance and spiritual journeying in both religions. King Ashoka, remembered for his rule of righteousness in Hindu history, mirrors the esteem for Sultan Mehmed II in Islamic history, known for his strategic conquest of Constantinople. Both rulers left lasting impacts on their civilizations, embodying the ideal of just and powerful leadership in both cultures. Baji Rao I, recognized as a remarkable military leader in Hindu history, and Khalid bin al-Walid, revered as a military genius in Islamic history, both showcase the heroic ideals of their respective traditions. Their exploits serve as historical touchstones for the martial virtues of bravery and strategic intelligence in both religions. Aryabhata, a renowned Hindu mathematician and astronomer, made significant scientific contributions, including approximations of pi. In contrast, Al-Khwarizmi, a Persian scholar in the Islamic world, is known as the father of algebra, showcasing major contributions to the field of mathematics from both cultures. The mango, used in Hindu rituals and symbolism as a sign of prosperity and love, contrasts with dates in Islamic tradition, a fruit of great significance, particularly during Ramadan, marking the breaking of fast. Many Hindus abstain from eating beef out of reverence for cows, while Muslims avoid pork due to dietary laws, reflecting how religious beliefs shape dietary practices in each culture.
Sure, but worth mentioning here as well is of course that we believe that the swine is a filthy animal, a dirty animal. We do not believe that the swine is a god to us.
Ganga Jal, water from the holy river Ganges in Hinduism, is considered sacred and purifying. This parallels the Islamic belief in Zamzam water from a well in Mecca, thought to be a gift from God with healing properties. Both serve as potent symbols of purification and divine blessings in their respective traditions. The ultimate goal in Hinduism is moksha, liberation from the cycle of birth and death, signifying a liberation from physical existence and merging with the divine. In contrast, Baraka in Islam refers to divine blessings or the presence of God in one's life, representing a continuous divine grace and guidance in worldly life. Dharma in Hinduism refers to the moral, societal, and cosmic laws that guide human behavior toward living righteously and achieving spiritual liberation. In contrast, Sharia in Islam is the legal and moral code that guides a Muslim's behavior in all aspects of life. Although both deal with moral and ethical living, Dharma has a broader cosmic perspective, whereas Sharia provides detailed guidance on daily living. Yoga in Hinduism, which seeks spiritual insight and tranquility through physical postures and meditation, is akin to dhikr in Islam, a devotional act involving repeated recitation of God's names. Both practices offer a path to spiritual concentration and connection with the divine, reflecting a shared emphasis on personal spiritual discipline. Akamana in Hinduism is a ritual cleansing process involving sipping water with mantras, symbolizing spiritual and physical purity. This parallels wudu in Islam, a purification ritual involving washing specific parts of the body before prayer, both rituals emphasizing the importance of purity in worship. Dana, the act of giving in Hinduism, reflects the principle of generosity and selflessness. Similarly, zakat in Islam, a form of obligatory charity, embodies the principles of social responsibility and aid to the less fortunate, reflecting shared values of compassion and community support. Hindu tradition favors cremation, a ritual seen as a key part of the journey of the soul, reflecting a cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. On the other hand, Islamic practices advocate for burial, aligning with the faith's emphasis on dignity and respect for the deceased. These rites showcase how each religion distinctively honors and remembers the departed. In Hinduism, believes in reincarnation, the soul's journey through successive lives, in contrast with Islam's belief in resurrection, where each individual will be brought back to life for the final judgment. This concludes our comparison of Hinduism and Islam. It's our sincere hope that this video can serve as an enlightening bridge, enabling followers of both faiths to deepen their mutual understanding and thereby fostering an environment of greater respect and harmony. As we navigate the complexities of our world today, the call for more peace and less animosity is more crucial than ever. Thank you for joining us in this exploration, and don't forget to stay tuned for more insightful content in the
That's it for today's video. Well done, I would say. The ending, the emphasis on peace. Of course, we would agree. We all want peace, but not to the detriment of truth. When we're talking about religion, when we're talking about theology, we are talking about truth claims. And this is very important to understand, because ultimately we always have a belief system in society that will dictate all of our life. If we adapt communism, we we have a consequence. If we adopt a dictatorship, we have a consequence. If we would adopt anarchy, we would have a consequence as well. And therefore, if we're talking about religion, of course, nowadays people get sidetracked and they put religion on the back burner and they're all secularists, but nevertheless, this is of course not what the religious mind believes. We do believe that our religion comes from God and therefore gives us the perfect guidance for this world, for this life and the hereafter. Every Muslim that is a true Muslim does not want to live under a democracy, does not want to live under any other system than Sharia law. Otherwise, you can't really claim that you are a Muslim if you would disagree with Sharia. And all of that being said, we believe that monotheism, Tawheed, Islam is the right path for everyone, right? So therefore we cannot compromise here on religion. This is why I pointed out when the video spoke about the different prayers that it is not only about the external. Hey, this prayer is very rigid, this one is more loose. It's not about it. It is about the theology. One prayer encourages you to pray to one God alone. The other prayer encourages you to worship different deities. Those are completely different worldviews and will lead to different outcomes. Hinduism, as I mentioned, has a caste system. In Islam, we do not have that. Nobody is greater than anybody else. Allah is the greatest, of course, and you can only be better if you are more pious. But under God, we are equal. So this is a very different system, and therefore it has to be pointed out, of course. And probably the most important part of the video was the mentioning of the cultural component of Hinduism. If you look into Hinduism, it is mostly Indians that are Hindu. So you cannot deny this cultural component whatsoever. However, culture is very, very tricky. I was born into an Orthodox Christian family from the Balkans. If I would have never reflected, I simply would have stayed a Christian. And I would have assumed, full of arrogance, that I am on the truth. But how would I know this? Right? I'm simply doing what my parents have done and my grandparents have done. But my great-great-great-great-great-grandparents, they were pagans, right? Christianity got imposed onto them. So who is right here? How do I make an informed decision? So we can never stop questioning if we really want to find truth.
I would like to make a comment as well. A lot of comments I have seen in our past Hindu videos try to portray Islam as unscientific. I mean, I can't even tell you how many comments I read where people said the earth is flat. Just do a quick Google search. Quran, earth-shaped egg. Just type in those words and you'll find a verse where Allah describes the shape of the earth as an egg. The Arabic word used for that word, when you translate it literally to English, actually means like Arabian, like ostrich egg, which is an extinct animal, but it was known that its shape was called like an oblique spheroid. I forget the exact name, but it's
basically the shape of the earth.
It's basically the same shape of the earth, right? And Allah is using that exact word to describe the shape of the earth. To us, that is actually something pretty profound because you have God using a word that science would agree with, right? Not only that, you have the Quran talking about living beings made out of water. You have Allah talking about how the heavens and the earth were in one point and he clove them asunder, which is pretty aligned to what the Big Bang running theory is now, that everything was at one point in a singularity, a mass. There's verses in the Quran talking about how the sun, the moon, and the earth are all in their own orbit. We did not know that the sun, we've discovered that the earth and the moon have their orbit, but the sun also orbiting, that's something that's relatively new, right? How would someone 1,400 years ago living in a desert who can't read or write even know any of these things? Well, I'll give you the answer. He doesn't know, and he's correct. Also, you have verses in the Quran talking about bees, and like their work and producing honey, and all the times
embryology, all these things.
Embryology. So to say Islam is unscientific when especially Muslims have contributed heavily to the scientific development of the world in many different respected fields, algebra, math, science, cosmology, all these kind of things, right?
Literally everything.
So it's just, again, I would just think and do a little bit of research.
Yeah, and just like this video said, it's about the similarities. We don't have animosity towards you guys, but it seems like sometimes you guys have animosity towards us. Yeah, which is not very nice, and it makes me sad. So don't make me cry.
I want to emphasize that point at the end. There's always a lot of finger pointing, and I think a lot of people hate on things that they don't understand. Right, the classic H.P. Lovecraft, where he was a great storyteller because he was so frightened of what he didn't know that he wrote about the unknown. and he was able to convey them anxieties and worries about the unknown, and kind of reflect them on things that are very unknown, like alien life and stuff. But I think it's a good depiction on people in general, where they like to hate on things that they don't understand. And the more we understand each other, the more we have respect for each other. And so, yeah, I also hope that the comment section isn't full of hate and finger pointing. I hope that it is a place of understanding and love and growth.
And a very big shout out to our religious subscribers that have came in and suggested this to us. We appreciate that. We hope you learned something from this. We have, and we're still trying to wonder what Neo-Hinduism is, so that's a fourth one for us. Let us know in the comments down below. What did you think of that, Danielle?
Yeah, it was good to see the difference between, I mean, they don't have too much of a difference of the amount of people that are between both religions.
Yeah.
But it's mad to see how spread out the Muslim religion is around the world compared to how like a small part of the world is Hinduism.
Yeah.
And it's just that, which is not crazy to see.
So, of course, guys, let us know your thoughts in the comments about this comparison. What if there was anything that you feel was left out, let us know in the comments. And what did you not know that you have learned today? But if there's anything you want to tell us about either Hinduism or Islam, don't be shy either. Let us know and we'll have the conversation down in them comments down below.
Alright guys, but this is it for today's video, long enough as it is. I'm going to cut it off here. If you liked it, leave it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed already, guys, please do so. And if you want to support this channel via Patreon or by buying merch, all the links are in the description box below. Thank you so much for your ongoing support, guys, and as always, may God bless you all. Much love and peace.